Hey.
I think I want you to start.
We are in the Sierra Nevadas of California. Desolation Wilderness. We're in Echo Lake, the gateway to the Desolation Wilderness. And let's see, it's a Wednesday. I think it's somewhere around a new moon, but I've lost track of all things. It's in a beautiful way. I think I would say that we are landing in a land that I would call this the land that raised me. It's not the land that I was born, but I spent a good part of my life here, and in a lot of ways came to know myself here. So I think you're meeting that land for the first time, and it's clear, and it's without power lines and sewer systems and all the other kinds of funny things that we put on the earth. And so it's clean and clear in a lot of ways, and I think we've both been feeling that. Mm-hmm. And then we also just in today had a beautifully messy, might call it like a funny fight in a way that we haven't, I think, and I have some things to say about that about myself, but we're also just feeling that kind of jarring energy of a couple that's just gets to be and see the children of themselves. But I think we're coming out of that. We're on a little hike, on a walk, our first in a couple days, and we've been eating a lot of pie.
That's a great introduction. Yeah, I feel like we're held, by this land. We're with your parents, and I just met your mom and your cousins here. But it feels somehow it feels flowing. Like I'm feeling very in a flow and actually enjoying the presence of them, which somehow I knew coming here. I kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I felt like it's gonna be easy. And of course, there's this moments when I'm like, oh, I wish I could just like lie naked or like be in my flow, because there's these moments when, we socialize and, but so far it's been actually really nice. And it's like I'm getting to, through getting to know them and this land, I'm like feeling you. I'm like, wow, of course. That, I'm seeing the clear spaciousness that you have inside
Hard
of
edges.
You. The hard edges, the dryness, the wilderness, this lake. Since we came here, and I'm not such a fan of cold water, but I just laugh at myself because every day I go and I need to jump in at least 2 or 3 times, and this is like really cold, and I can feel how much my body wants to be in this water. So. No, I feel like I told you, I feel like I'm in a place, in a nature I've never, for me, it's so new. It's very new. And so it's, I think, offering me not just new perspective, but let's say today when I could touch my pattern, it's really hard to not see it. And there was like it's almost because it is so open, and I'm like... And so I'm like true. Seeing it so well, and there's nowhere to hide. I feel like this place also, because it doesn't have like forests to hide. Mm-hmm. For me, it's more like solitary trees. That's how I feel inside of me. And so in a way, it's beautiful, and I don't need the need to hide. I feel like I'm clearing. I'm like with the wind and the water, and
it's beautiful. I feel. I mean, that's such a lovely reflection, and it feels so true. I haven't thought of it like that, but it's up here. There's a way where you're just like people are their patterns. It's kind of like whatever you've brought here is what you're going to be. There's not even that there's not so much maybe inner work to do, but that's not what happens here. It's not what's ever happened to me here. It's more like kind of like an exposure. It's like the portrait, the picture. Like there's a lot that goes into it, but then you're like, that's what I am. And it feels like you kind of can't hide from yourself here. And in a way that's beautiful, because I think there's so much of the world where we are hidden from ourselves and we can't see ourselves. And so for me, I've felt always like without this place, I'm not, I wouldn't have met my own soul. You might say. I mean, I'm sure that there's a way, but there were just these pivotal moments in life where this particular land and the experiences that I was able to sort of fall into here brought me in touch with a larger framework of myself than what I knew, what kind of society told me I was, or what familial relations told me I was. So I'm really grateful to this land. I'm also really, in this moment, I'm thinking, it feels beautiful to, I think, just touch on how wonderful it is to go to places and interact and experience with the land as a living being that has personality. And I really just love that I can do that with you. And it feels to me like, I would say that everything I know about being an earthling has been taught to me by physical places that I've landed in time, and then seeing experiences happen there and sort of equating them to some degree to the personality of the place. And I'm really grateful that, especially over the last 5 years, that I've received that lens. So it's really, I wonder if you want to say anything about that.
No, I feel the way how we met was we started to talk about land. We started to talk about the place that we were. We were not talking about us, which I think that's where my soul was like captured and wanted to talk more to you, because I never really could share with other people to this degree that I can share with you how much I sort of, because I've been moving so much on the planet, and only lately in the last decades I became aware how much different places shape me and what I receive, and it's like I start to feel like the meridians on the earth, the chakras on the earth, and then being like, whoa, right now I'm in a heart chakra of many heart chakras, but like for me it was quite clear, and it was like you're meant to work on your heart here. And then I was in a place where it was like a sacral chakra, and then there was a place which was, and it's almost like the environment of the earth is like the body of the earth is talking to my body and to certain places on my body. And it's like this tree of life that I was today trying to understand a little bit. But then it was like, right, like the tree of life is in my physical body, it's in the earth. And so I start to see like it's almost coming to an acupuncture places. And that if we're susceptible and we can actually consciously work with it, we can do so much. And then also it makes sense why people go for pilgrimage, why people actually do go in different places like mountains. I'm gonna heal my whatever in the mountains, and then I'm gonna go to the ocean, work on that. And seeing the earth as a body with the different locations. I think we both, before we met, we were already tapped into that. And it's beautiful to share it with you, and also through us then interacting in these places together, because that's very different when I'm alone and when you're alone.
It's like a hot needle instead of just like a little acupuncture needle. It's like it's got
like brings things a little bit.
Be in a relationship. No, but I think in terms of the idea of making love, really that's, it's like there is a way where I can, if it's just me in relationship to the land, praying, listening, watching, looking, experiencing, there's a ease to it, but also like a disconnection. And it's like when I'm in a place with you, I've kind of got to be plugged in to myself, and to you. There's a way where it just brings, it's a bit more truth. Yeah.
I also feel like you see things that I would not see, or you feel, and then I become aware of them, and that opens up a new door inside of me. And I hope I provide that to you too, you know, like there is something that I can like communicate with while you would not look at it per se. Yeah. I felt this morning, so when I went down and I start to sing, because for me, how I communicate lately with Earth is through my voice. And I see what's coming, so it's like if I can really open the channel and just receive, and then receive the trees and the plants, and they start to sink through me or start to send me. And so I was curious, and I was like, whoa, it is so easy for me to sing here. And I almost felt her in this place, like she wants it, and there's not enough. Like I felt like there's not much.
There's not much prayer here, honestly. There's really not much like reverence. There's people. This is in America in a lot of ways. People use land. It's not so much of
like I'm here
saying hello. Even if you're going rock climbing, you're like you're with the rocks, but it's really about. It's not so much of like whoa. And there's just a way you can do the same activity. But I think as Americans, we're learning this art. We don't actually have it, it hasn't been passed down to us in ways, and how to really like notice land, obviously, with the indigenous peoples of these lands. But sadly, that's not woven into our culture. And so, yeah, I think that there's like just really just being like, whoa, this place is, not only is this place beautiful, and it's a lovely place to gather and be with people, but you can sort of recognize that beauty in a new way and be with the land and give the land some love. And like
like communicate with her. I think there's a lot of like just communicating with the elements. And I also felt, I mean, now like going back a little bit into like, you know, we saw the neighbors, or like I saw the neighbor, and then a little bit like tap into your mom and your dad are reading the whole time, so they're very peaceful. But there's also what we've talked about. There's a lot of unspoken, which I of course feel and I can see it. So there's a lot of like, well, let's just be on the surface and talk the small talks, which is easy, about food and about itinerary. And so I feel it, and I'm not like, I don't need to go in. So it also feels peaceful to me to just leave it as that. But then I was wondering, because it is like this land is so pristine, so like untouched, that almost like, it's almost a shame to just be like, you know, like sort of in a bubble.
You know, I've thought this. It's beautiful. It's true. It might be a shame, but it is. I would say from, you know, if there's like a voice that I feel from this land, it's just like, come as you are, and enjoy. Like there's it's asking.
The temple.
It's not even asking, it's just like, it's for you. And there's a way where like so much of Earth is like, she's so kind and loving and continually giving. And there's this, you know, so I think that she's kind of okay with people being surface here. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of, I mean, and I do, I mean, it's the field, the family that I grew up with in. It's almost like, do not go underneath and find out what's really driving an emotion, or if there's even an emotion there. Like, no, we'll just talk about what we're going to cook, and that'll be that. And there's a way where it's almost easier here. I see it because there's a little community here, and there's a way where I can see people kind of come here to get away from the emotion that they might be feeling. And there's a like, here I can just like forget about all of it and be kind of blissfully unaware. And there's something really quite dark about that, actually. There's something quite, it's bypassing. You know, it's not spiritual bypassing per se, but it's like it's our form of American bypassing that we have. Yeah. But it's not there's not, you know, it's the place where there's not consumerism happening.
No.
It's quite the opposite. There is a reverence. There's
simplicity.
simplicity. There's a reverence for the connection and like how beautiful human connection is. And you talked about reading and just story and slowness. And so there's a way where people, I think, and that's why I received so much of my, what I would say, my soul here. It's like there's a way where you just, it's a good place just to be.
Yes.
And not do so much. And so much of what we feel, this is in California too, so much of what you feel if you go to the Bay Area, let's say, is a constant need to be something.
Yeah.
To everything needs to drive towards more success. And ultimately that's all a consumption. That's all some form of a hungry ghost, us eating ourselves and our world.
Yeah. And here it's true, it's like there's a break from that. Yeah.
I think there's one piece I just want to go back and just kind of give some voice to it, because you talked about this acupuncture and how going to these different lands can feel like acupuncture on you. And I think that's so beautiful. And I think it reminded me of it's like a thought that I've had that feels so beautiful that maybe maybe in the future, I can imagine if a lot of the human race, like a lot of a culture, had done most of the, let's say, trauma work, and we weren't carrying, like I think we're always going through pain, but if we were sort of up to date with our wounds, then that same function, we might be the acupuncture needles for the earth. And that feels like there's touching something about the purpose of the human in the evolutionary unfolding of this planet, where it's like it's less about me getting the healing from her and more about me being the thing that is her making love to her. So I can then bring, it's what we talked about in the last episode, I can bring the shell to the mountain, or I can bring a story to the people of the plains from this other place. And when we intermingle, we're sort of like land talking to land. When we sit and tell stories around a fire, we're sort of bringing a story from another land to this land, and then those mingle. And there's something really beautiful about a connected world, knowing itself as doing that. Like, it's not about me. It's me going as a place to another place to share that place.
Yeah. When you say that, before I left Canada, without knowing why, I started to hug trees, and I started hugging trees, and then because I was so ungrounded,
which you just did, by the way, and you got a lot of wisdom. Sorry,
and so when I hugged a tree, I would consciously connect to a tree that was completely somewhere else, and the tree would just come to my consciousness without me being like searching for it. So it would be like I would hug a tree in Korea. I remember during pandemic, I would go often hug tree, and then I would connecting to the trees in Canada, to the trees in Czech, to the trees in Guatemala. And I really felt like I was in a communication. And even though in that moment it was hard for me, for example, to be like Korea, for me, that land offered me so much trauma work, like really, because it put me in isolation and there was no escape. It was like, you gotta deal with this or you will get crazy. And the only help for me was going into hikes. And there were hikes in the mountains. And the nature was so interesting there. It was like, I felt Korea always like my country. It's, I never shared with you my relationship with Korea, but the smell.
I would love to hear that in another episode.
Yeah,
we'll just talk about Korea.
It was like I tapped into some ancestors there was like Asian ancestor in me, and the food and everything, it just woke up my body. And it just realigned things, and
It makes sense that came with trauma.
So then, then Korea really gave me that, and then I had
the
moments.
ancestors are like,
yeah. There was like the Pandora box opened there, and I was held, but I was also, interesting. So like hugging trees, that was the beginning of like, I was like, oh right, like and then also this realization, like wherever I go, I'm like massaging the earth, like I'm communicating with her, and I was always thinking when I dance, Like when I sing, it's more like I'm communicating with her, through her to the cosmos. But when I would be dancing, I would be like tapping into the rhythm of her heart. And also giving my heart to her. So there is making love in the bodies.
Yes.
That's why I also, dance and singing. Like
this is making love. I mean, I would say too, maybe this is a kind of closing, but in my, when I have touched into her consciousness, especially with medicine, ayahuasca and mushrooms, it's kind of like there's the grandmotherly vibe, there's the motherly vibe, and then there's this I think it's not feminine or masculine per se, but I definitely feel, from my point of view, as the planet as like as a feminine force. I think there's both things folded in, but it just feels like she's so sexy. Like like in terms of what making love is, that's kind of like everything she's doing all the time, but in the form of lovemaking is also the deepest well of sadness and tears and like rage, but like she knows herself as just like everything that you see and feel and witness is this act of radical, emergent love. Like evolution looks this way to me. And there's like there's a Kali vibe to it sometimes. So she just looks very very sexy.
Pachamama.
Pachamama, yeah.
And I want to add to that. This morning I was also feeling that she accepts everything. She is a mother, and mother accepts everything. So like our little outbreak there, I was like, okay, I can give it to her. I just want to move it, the energy moves through me into her, and I know she's okay to take it and transform it. Like and there's this like, there's no, not judgment, but there's no, everything's welcome. Like that's what I'm feeling from her. Everything is welcome. all of it. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank
Feels good.
Yeah. Little episode about Earth and
Yeah.